Good morning. Am I audible to all of you?
Good morning, sir.
There is only one. Yes. Am I audible to you, please?
Good morning, sir.
Am I audible? There is only one participant. Yes, another one has joined right now. So let's wait for a few minutes so that everybody can join. Okay. Let's wait for at least 3 to 4 minutes so that everybody can join the session and then we will start this. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Am I audible to all of you? Let's start the session.
Morning, sir. Good morning.
Yes, yes,
Good
sir.
morning. Okay. Thank you for your response. So, this is my first class, and also you are joining for the first time. And today we are going to talk about Indian literature in English, right? Indian writing in English. This is the name or the title of the paper. So, I think this is the first class. Did you have any class yesterday?
No, no, no. There was no class.
Okay. Okay, in the timetable, it is there that yesterday you had a class, but as the classes were given suddenly to me, so that's why maybe there was a problem in the timetable and the schedule. So that's why the classes are going to start it from today onwards, and it will continue up to 26 probably. Okay. I hope that okay, all of you have the book with you, or you have received the copy of the book from your respective departments or university. Isn't that?
Yes, we did receive.
Okay.
I believe last year you taught us growth and structure.
Uh, I think so.
Yeah.
Growth and structure of English language, right?
Yeah, first year.
Yes. Last year. Yes, that's good. So you have recognized me because I didn't see your faces, right? I didn't see your faces, so that's the problem that I can't recognize you.
Yeah,
Only through
we
your
never
voice.
showed our faces online,
That's okay,
but
fine. No
I can
problem.
recollect with your voice. Yeah.
Anyway, it's okay. So today, our subject name or the title of the paper is Writing in English or Indian Writing in English. Okay. So before starting the topic or before going to the content that we have in the syllabus, because the subject is too vast and it's very difficult to complete it or read it or explain it within 8 or 10 classes. So what I will do is that I will give you an overview of the entire book or entire chapters we have in each 4 blocks, each of the blocks. So in each of the blocks there are I think 6 units, and each of the units there each either a prose or a poem or maybe a historical artifact or maybe a kind of nature format that has been included in the syllabus. And it's starting with the ancient history, or you can say that the beginning of Indian English writing till the modern till the present time. So before going to discuss about the introductory chapters, what I will suppose to do is that I am going to ask you a question. You know that okay, the title of the paper is writing in Indian writing in English, right? So there are few terms related to Indian English literature or writing in English in India. And those terms are like Indo-Anglian and Anglo-Indian, right? We have two different terms called Anglo-Indian literature or Indo-Anglian literature, right?
Yes.
Do you have any idea regarding these two terms? Do you have any idea? I mean, what do these two terms refers to? Anglo-Indian and Indo-Anglian. Two terms are different, quite, slightly different.
I believe Indian literature is something related to Indian Oriental languages, which has been translated into English, and Anglo-Indian is something related to British literature, which the writers directly wrote in English.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But when you're saying that Anglo-Indian, so what is the importance of the later term that is Indian? Anglo is fine, but okay, the writers, those who are writing directly in English are called Anglo, right? But there is another term that is Indian is also connected to that term. So you are absolutely right in the first one, that is uh, Indo-Anglian literature. Indo-Anglian means the writers of Indian subcontinent, or the writers from Indian uh, different states, those who are writing in Indian theme and culture and all these things in English language. Okay, they may have their own languages, like they could have their own mother tongue, like Bengali, Hindi, Urdu, Farsi, whatever it is. But when they are writing in English about anything, that is called Indo-Anglian literature. But when you are saying that, okay, Anglo-Indian literature, it means when the writers or the people, those who are not native to India, but maybe they are from European countries and they are writing about the theme, culture, religion, and other aspects directly related to India. So when they are writing about India, as for example, if you take an example, the Rudyard Kipling's book, The Jungle Book. Have you ever heard of that? The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book is actually about the Indian theme, a passage to India. These books are very good and written by some British writers or American writers about Indian theme. So when they are writing about India into their own language, that is what is known as Anglo-Indian. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear, but others need to respond. It's not me. Even others are listening. They need to respond.
Yeah, I'm asking to everybody, not only one of the participants. So anyway, uh, today we are going to talk about some of the basic instincts of this particular book, and Indian literature in English, or English literature in India. So there are very different terms that is being used in the sphere of literature presently right now in India. So you can call it in different forms. Okay? So there is no hard and fast rule that okay, you have to call this particular literature as Indian writing in English or Indian literature in English. There is no specific such hard and fast rule. So you can call it at your convenience, understanding. So let's talk about some of the basic things, because we have to start it from the beginning. So let's look into the syllabus once. Let me share my screen so that I can share the content of the syllabus that we have in our book. Okay. So this is the title of the book. I hope that you are able to hear me. So this is the title of the book, that is Indian Writing in English, and this belongs to the course number 6. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Uh, and these are the contents that we have in the syllabus. Course introduction is there, where we are going to talk about Indian writing in English, or what is English literature in India, what is the history. So if you are going to read the first block, that is unit 1, unit 2, there only you will get to know, and I will share some of my notes that I have to build a ground, or to build the base, so that you can basically on that, you can understand the other writings that have been written during the time of the uh, colonial period, during the time of the independence and after effect of it. Okay. The first one is unit one is talking about the Vanilla Country Subro report. It's a report on education written by this Subro, and it was written in 1820. Okay. There is followed by another report written by Thomas Babington Macaulay. Babington Macaulay is very famous for writing his minutes. That was published in 1835 or maybe 2nd February of 1835. Then we have Toru Dutt. She is the brightest poet of India, and she was also the youngest poet of India because she died at a very early age. But even that, stipulated time, she has written a lot of books. She has written a lot of poems of different themes and different, taste and culture. Because uh, she was able to speak, or you can say she was a polyglot. She knows many languages. She knew many languages within the time. Then we have another writer over here, that is Krupabai Satyanand, who wrote Saguma. It's a text again. Then we have Guru Jaga Appa Rao. He's also a famous writer of South Indian context. And last one is not a writer whom we can forget ever, because in which university he studied is named after him. That is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, right? Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar, who has written a text, or it was not a text, probably it's a kind of, you can say, treatise, it's a kind of letter. So Buddha or Karl Marx, maybe it's talking about a debate, or it's talking about a choice between these two things, two ideologies. One is Buddhist ideology and another is Karl Marx ideology. Then we have in block two, we have Rabindranath Tagore, his selected points. We all know that who is he. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the greatest writers of Indian continent, who got or who brought the first Nobel Prize in India in 1930. Then we have Mukhnaraj Anand from the modern India, you can say, from the 19th century, 18th century. Mukhraj Anand is very famous for writing about the underdogs, the Dalits, the Harijans, about the lower class people. He has always talked about the conflicts between upper caste and lower caste. Then Khushwant Singh is also another writer who is known as the partition writer. Okay, partition literature. In partition literature, these writers are going to talk about the causes, the after effects, and the results of partition. That is India-Pakistan partition. Okay. So Khuswan Singh's Train to Pakistan is one of the beautiful novels, one of the beautiful, literary texts that one should read. Then we have Isma Chittai. She belongs to Urdu literary, field. Isma Chittai. She was also maybe uh, an actor as well. She was playing. She was taking part in many plays and other performative activities. So the quilt is one of the writings taken from Smart Chuktai. Then we have Nissim Ezekiel. Nissim Ezekiel is another glory of India, because without whose poems Indian English literature is probably incomplete till now. Okay, so you also have to read about his poems. Then we have Kamala Das. Kamala Das, right now she is known as Kamala Mariam, maybe, because she has converted and changed her name as well. Kamala Suraya, probably, not Mariam. Kamala Suraya. So my story is another beautiful book which we are also going to talk about. But the thing is that all these books, all these poems are lengthy. All these things are lengthy. Probably in this 8 classes, 6 units are 5 hours. 5, but we have 23, 24 units, which is very difficult to cover. So what we are going to do is that we are going to cover it, giving a simple overview, and I will also assign you some tasks to do at home so that we will read and later on we will have a discussion. Okay. So today, let me make the foundation of this particular course so that you can read and realize and connect the book or the stories that we're going to read. So first we will start with the inauguration, or you can say the arrival of the East India Company in our country, that is called India. So let me share that portion. After that, we will have a talk about Machiavelli's Minute, the Charter Act of 1813. Then we will start Torudat and paper by Satyanand Savuma in the next class. So let me share that one as well. Just a minute. Okay. These are some of the notes that I prepared much earlier, because when I was preparing for UGC NET exam, at the time I prepared all the notes, and these notes are very much important from that point of view, and as well as to start this particular course, that is Indian writing in English. Okay. So history of Indian English language, that is the very, very beginning. The first thing is the root of English in India. What is the beginning of the English language to be introduced in our country? Okay. So Indian English refers to the regional variety of the English language spoken in the Republic of India and Indian diaspora elsewhere in the world. Okay. The history of Indian English language has been noted down below based on the important dates and events. The first one is 1498. Can anybody tell me what happened in 1498? There was a man called Vasco da Gama, right, who came to India through the sea route, right? He was the first man who came to India, right, in 1498. So Vasco da Gama's discovery of the sea route in India paved the way of entrance of English in the Indian subcontinent. Second was 1600, and this is the beginning of the East India Company. It was this year when the East India Company was established in the port of Surat, in the port of Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. Why the port? Because during the time we didn't have aeroplane, we didn't have maybe train during that time, right? So we didn't have all these things because the Industrial Revolution happened much later. The East India Company came to our country, so that's why they traveling from one place to another through sea route. So that's why they were capturing the ports, which were actually connecting the one country to another country. So that's why they started their business, their trade at the port of Surat, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta, by the order of Queen Elizabeth I. So Elizabeth I, I can say that one of the greatest uh, ruler of the entire world, because it was she who changed the fate, the fortune of the Britishers. In many cases, you will see that okay, that women are subjected to many other things like treated as objects, because nowadays women are fighting for their rights. Nowadays they are fighting for their all kinds of rights. It's fights for their equality, their right to vote, the right to speak, and all these things. But to be honest, it was Queen Elizabeth I. It was she who gave the Britishers this power. Right now, whatever they are right now in the present time, It's all because of Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth I. It was she who brought all the nations to bow down in front of the British nation, that is England, during that time. After that, there is another beautiful and powerful lady was there, and that was Queen Victoria. She has done almost the same like Queen Elizabeth. But in between that, there are many kings who has done their activities. But the thing is that they led their life most probably for luxury and other things, voluptuousness. So, so it was the time of Queen Elizabeth when they started the East India Company. Then in 1759, the effort of their George for establishing schools to teach English in India was welcome. Okay. So during 1759, the Britishers, those who came with the East India Company, they started or they felt that okay, we have to teach the Indians English language so that we can spread our trade. And during that time, if suppose if you are going from one place to another, and if you don't know the language of the place, but you're thinking that okay, this place is very good because they can sell and market a lot and earn a lot. So in order to gain good profit, spread your business or trade, what you will do is that you will try to meet some clerks. And to get some clerks with whom you can share and exchange your ideas, you have to teach them your language or you have to learn their language. But why will you learn the language of others? It is better to teach them your language so that you can communicate. Okay? So that's what was the need when they started teaching the Indians, the brown Indians, their own language so that they can express their business and trade. Then in 1784, the Royal Aesthetic Society of Bengal was established by Sir William Jones. It has a long history. We are not going to talk about it, but this fifth and sixth point are very important. Okay? That is, the Orientalists are those people who were in favor of using classical language of Indian tradition like Sanskrit, Persian, and during the time Urdu was also there. Okay? So the people, those who believed that okay, in order to teach the Indian, in order to develop the education system of India, we have to use the vernacular languages like Sanskrit, Persian, Urdu to teach the people of India. These languages should be the medium of instruction when we are teaching, even though we are teaching the Western philosophies, Western cultures, Western sciences to the student of India, we have to use these languages as the medium of instruction. Okay? But Anglicists were the, and some of the people who were supporting this one, the Orientalists, were Sir William Jones, who started the Aesthetic Society, and his friend Thomas Monro were Orientalists. They were in favor of the vernacular language. They didn't want to damage the Indian languages, the Indian sentiments. But there were some people who were called Occidents or Anglicists. Anglicists are those people who supported English as the only dominant language. They didn't bother about our sentiments, our language, our their culture, our history, our story, anything. Okay? They only bothered about their own language, their own business, their own trade and profit. So Anglicists are those people who supported English as the only dominant language of trade, communication, and education. Now, Macaulay and Charles Wood were the Anglicists. And these two people had done a great job from their point of view. And partially, if it is 90% for their profit, 10% was also for our profit. Because whatever they have done for not only for their good, but right now we are realizing that it is good for us as well. Right? So these were the conflicts between the Anglicists and the Orientalists. And these 2 points, remember these 2 points, because we are going to talk about Should Rose report and as well as Macular's minute. So there also we are going to talk about. Okay. Then remove this, skip this seventh and eighth point. In 8.7, that is Thomas Bennington actually is credited mainly for the official introduction of the English education in India. So he is the person who started officially, teaching the students in English. Okay, so it was he who started. Macaulay's Minutes written was on 2nd February 1835, but it was issued on 7th March 1835 by Lord Bentinck, the Governor General of India. So let's jump to the Macaulay's Minute. What was it? Because it is there in second unit of first block. So we are also going to do have an idea or brief of this chapter. Oops, Baker is not there. Earlier it was there in your syllabus. Right now it's not there. So we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about Macaulay's Minute. So I have some pictures of it. Let me share if it is. Started in 1835, right? As I already said in sixth point, that okay, there was a conflict between the Anglicist and the Orientalist, or Occidental and Oriental. These were some of the terms that has been extensively used. So as there was a controversy or conflict that darkened the whole educational scenario of the time, William Bentinck, I told you that okay, William Bentinck was the person under whose instruction, uh, because he was the Governor General of the time, so under whose instruction Lord Macaulay, that Lord Wellington Macaulay, started writing the minute. Okay, so it was Lord Bentinck, William Bentinck, the then Governor General of the company, assigned Mr. Macaulay, the law member of the Governor General's Council, the duty of submitting a strategy for solving the problem. And the problem was between that whether we should use the vernacular language to teach the Indians, or we should use we should use the English language to teach them. Because during that time, what happened, they were also calling some of the missionaries. So that's why we have many churches here and there right now. That's how the religion also is created from one place to another. Otherwise, Christianity is not a a religion of India. Islam is not a religion of India. Then we have
Your voice is not heard properly, sir.
Voice is not there.
Yes, sir. It's as if coming from a deep well, sir.
And there is something disturbance around background, sir, actually. If you don't mind, sir.
No, you come near to the speaker so that it will be better.
So, okay. Is it audible to you right now?
Now it is fine. Now it is fine. Okay.
Okay. Please let me know when the voice is breaking. Please. Okay. So we were talking about Macaulay's Minute, right? And I said that okay, there was a controversy regarding which language should be the medium of instruction while teaching the students of Indian subcontinent. Because when they came for trading, they came with their culture, with their religion, with their food habits, and all these things. They came here for a temporary basis. But later on, when they found that okay, this land is full of wealth, the people are very foolish, we can cheat them, we can earn a lot of money, lot of wealth. That's why they started establishing their own colonies over here, and they started ruling us. For ruling, for trading, and other purposes, they had some kind of need of clerks who can assist them. And for that, they started teaching some of the people who were in touch of the Britishers. And during that time, they had chosen two methods of teaching them. One was using the vernacular languages like Sanskrit, Persian, Urdu, and other languages. Those who were based on the regions where they had started their colonies. Like if it is in Bengal, they started teaching using Bengali as the medium of instruction. If it is Madras, or if it is other regions, other states, so that region they started thinking that okay, we will teach the students based on their native languages. But one group was also there who was saying that we have to teach them through the only language, that is English, because this is the only language which can be used, so that we do not have to uh, repeat the same task in again in another language. So it would be better if we will teach them even in English only. Okay, so that's why William Lord Bentinck, the then Governor General, started thinking about it and Babington Macaulay to find or submit a strategy for solving this problem. Okay, and as a result, Mr. Macaulay submitted his report in 1835, which is known as Macaulay's Minute. And this is the this is one of the what can I say that okay, golden report, you can say. But this is the base that marked the change of Indian education system. This was the base. Okay, so the first thing that Macaulay recommended in this particular minute was that English should be the medium of instruction at all the levels of education. What is it? That is English, and this English language during the time replaced Persian, because during the time Persian was the official language of our country, that is India. So it replaced Persian language, and it occupied the first position in our country. Okay, so English should be the medium of instruction at all the levels of education. That was the first recommendation that he mentioned in this particular minute, and it is the only key to modern knowledge. So he gave certain kind of explanation to this, because why should we have to include English as the only medium of instruction? It was because it is the key to modern knowledge. He said that okay, if you want to excel yourself from one place to another, if you want to move yourself forward, if you want to earn something more in your life, in your career, about modernity, about modern knowledge, about true knowledge, valid knowledge, you have to learn English. Okay, it is the language of the ruling class. It is the language of the ruling class. That's why you have to learn this language. It would fetch Renaissance in India. So Renaissance means rebirth, reawakening. Okay, reawakening from darkness. Okay, from darkness to brightness. So it will lead you from darkness to brightness. That's why you have to learn English. Okay, Indians are eager to learn English. They want to learn English. That's why he included English. So these are some of the hypotheses. These were some of the strategies that Macaulay sorry for the inconvenience. There is certain mistake, technical error. Yes. Am I audible right now?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Okay, thank you. So it was because these points, he said that okay, we have to use English as the medium of instruction. The second point was that European literature should be taught at educational institutions. Now, in order to uh, make the people of India educated, they said that okay, instead of teaching the vernacular language like Sanskrit, the literature of India, like Sanskrit literatures were also there, the science of Indian, theme. So they were saying these are very poor. And we should not, bother about this one. If you want to educate your child, if you want to, make them modern, properly educated, you have to teach them the European literature. Okay. So a single statement. So that's why he said one statement into that the minute. He said that, okay, a single shelf of a good European library holds the whole native literature of India and Arabia. This was a very big statement regarding this one. It was a kind of insult during the time, but I don't know whether they realized it during the time or not. Okay. Someone's mic is on, so can you please mute yourself? It's actually creating some noise. So a single shelf of a good European library holds the whole native literature of India and Arabia. It was a very, very big insult to the Indians during that time. Anyway, so this was another recommendations, another point that he made that, okay, European literature, science, and culture should be taught in English medium. Then Macula's Minute of 1835, third recommendation that he given was that all regional institutions should be converted into English education. So whatever institution we had during the time when these people came in 1835, during the time, he said that, okay, we have to convert it, all the schools, all the institutions, whatever we have right now presently in India, into English medium or into English education. So whatever will be taught in English. Okay, and will be taught related to the English literature, English science, art, culture, commerce. So whatever will be taught will be related to Britishers on the European history and culture. Grants given to such institutions can be utilized for the spreading of English in India. Now, in the Charter Act of 1813, we will also talk about that. In that, 1 lakh of that time, 1 lakh was the budget to the promotion of education into that in a particular institution. So right now, in this minute, he is saying that, okay, we have to do one thing, that we have to utilize that amount to spread English in India, not to spread any other thing, okay, or any other vernacular language or vernacular literature. So we have to use that amount. We will provide the amount, but that amount will be used for promoting English in India. Okay. The fourth one is downward filtration theory. So he started talking about downward filtration theory, and it is a very noted and famous theory that has been given by this particular man. That is, when we are going to teach the Indians, we are not going to teach all the people in the same way, right? So they started a class system because it was there in Europe, it was there in England, it was there in French, that there will be an upper caste, there will be lower caste. And they also got to know that, okay, we also have many caste system over here. They didn't have caste system, they have class system, higher class and lower class, upper class, lower class. But the thing is that they knew it very well because they were here, because they started to, started their business in 1600, and it was talking about 1835, so almost 235 years. So they knew it very well that, okay, our society is also very fragile. It has been divided into many groups. We have many caste systems, we have many religions, we have many people, many languages. So it can be divided and ruled in a very easy way, right? So that's why they say that, okay, what we have to do is that we have to make a system through which we will filter the upper classes only. If the upper classes will learn, the lower classes will automatically learn, or the lower classes will automatically follow the upper classes. That is the actually cracks of this particular downward filtration theory. So there is no need for educating the mass, but by educating the upper class, it would be filtered down to the lower class people, as it is the human tendency that the common folk always try to imitate the people of higher status. Okay, so that was another point that he made. Now let's talk about many sentiments of this one so that it will be uh, easy to remember the entire points that or the recommendations that Macaulay had made in this minute. The first merit is the commencement of English education. If it wouldn't be there, we could not have English language, the language that we're using right now, right? Introduction of European literature into our literature. Then we have introduction to modern system, commencement of science, education, window to democratic ideas, awareness of concepts like nationalism. All these things actually brought to our consciousness, brought to our conscious mind through this particular minute. And now the demerits are added extra fuel to the burning fire. The fire was about vernacular and Oriental languages. The fire was about upper class versus rural classes. The fire was about divide and rule, the upper caste and lower caste. Okay, so it actually added some extra fuel to this burning fire. Neglected regional languages. It's very true that okay, they neglected completely neglected all our regional languages, be it Telugu, be it Malayalam, be it Bengali, Hindi, Urdu, Farsi, whatever. Right? Neglected indigenous system. Our system had been totally, removed from the official usage, focused on producing clerks instead of producing students, scholars. They were producing clerks. They were calling us clerks. There is a famous statement said by Macaulay. I'll read that one. Focus on producing clerks severely condemned the native literature and culture. So they were actually condemning the literature of our country. They were condemning the culture of our country, as they were saying that okay, instead of teaching them into vernacular languages, they will use English as the medium of instruction, and they will not teach us our vernacular literature and culture, but they will introduce English literature. That's why in that time they also he also mentioned one thing that okay, the one self in a library is heavier than the entire civilization of India and Arabia. So both Saudi Arabia, I mean the Gulf countries and Indian subcontinent. So Asia and Gulf countries both had been included, and these are very light to oneself of English writings. So that was a great insult for us. So that's why severely condemned the native literature and culture. So these are some of the valid points that you can remember regarding the minute of Macaulay. Okay, let me tell you one another point that is also important here, and that is here I have mentioned. Finally, he said here, I have mentioned here that Indians will be well acquainted with Western knowledge, and the third point it is mentioned that Indians will be well acquainted with Western knowledge and science, will exhibit the Western knowledge to the vernacular dialects, and would help to rise up a good vernacular literature in the country within 20 years. He finally says that okay, as the languages of Western Europe civilized Russia, so will do to the case of Hindus, Indians in blood and color, but English in taste. So what they said about us is that we will become the clerks. Okay, we will become the clerks. We will be Hindus, we will be Indians in blood and color, but we will be English in taste, opinions, morals, and intellect. That's what he made, or that's what he said in response to his recommendations into this particular minute. Okay. After that, we have Woods Dispatch, that is known as the Magna Carta in the Indian higher education system. So we're not going to talk about that one. Now let's jump to the introduction of the course, that is, sorry, the Charter Act. What was there in the Charter Act? This is also important because Charter Act of 1813. Without reading this one, we won't be able to read the report of. So we'll read that one in the next class. will not read that one. I will give you an overview of that. Okay. So background of the Charter Act is that due to Napoleon Bonaparte, I hope that you have heard of this man's name. He's a very famous leader. He was a very poor man at the time in the beginning. In his career, he was a soldier only. Later on, he became one of the greatest leader of the world. So during that time, during the time, what happened that he was the only problem who was creating a problem in the world trade. So due to Napoleon Bonaparte's continental system in Europe, which prohibited the import of British goods into French allies in Europe, British traders and merchants suffered. So as he didn't allow or he prohibited the goods to import into the French allies in Europe, British traders and merchants suffered a lot. Okay, so that's why they demanded that they be given a share in the British trade in Asia and dissolve the monopoly of the East Indian Company. The company objected to this, and finally, British merchants were allowed to trade in the India under a strict licensing system under the Charter Act of 1830. But in trade with China and the tea trade, the company still retained its monopoly. So, what are the provisions that has been given in this particular act is number one is that this act asserted the crown sovereignty over British possession in India. So this act is saying that okay, instead of giving or believing or trusting the British possessions in India, they were ascertaining that we have to believe the crown sovereignty. Crowns means the kings and the queens, those who were there in England. So we have to trust them as the only power in our country. They didn't want to actually completely believe on the power that they are spreading in India or the British position in India. Number two is that the company's rule was extended to another 20 years. Their trade monopoly was ended except for the trade in tea, opium, and with China. So after that, their trade monopoly means they were trading and they were the only superpower in the market of trading. So that's why they were saying in this Charter Act, they were saying that okay, they will have their monopoly for another 20 years, but later on, what happened that they ended up their trade. Just a minute. Okay. So they had only their power, the superpower, in the trade of tea, opium, and well, they had a trade with China. The third point is that it empowered the local government to tax people subject to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Now the thing is that during the time there was a system of collecting taxes from the lower class, from the people, those who were actually farming, those who were cultivating, and those who are doing small businesses or small trades. So this particular act gave some power which was very bad during the time to the local governments made by the British people only. So give them some power to tax people subject to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Okay, and it should be included in the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That's what they also said. The company's dividend was fixed at 10.5%. And the act gave more powers for the courts in India over European British subjects. It was a good thing that the courts were given more powers than the European British subjects. Another important feature of this act was to grant permission to the missionaries to come to India and engage in religious proselytization. That means during this time, they gave permission to the British missionaries to come to India and spread their religion along with their language. That is Christianity. Okay. The act also provided for a financial grant towards the revival of Indian literature and the promotion of science. This was also a good thing. That is, it gave a permission and financial grant of 1 lakh rupees. This 1 lakh rupees had been given for the revival of Indian literature and the promotion of science. That has been removed by Lord Macaulay in his minute. That okay, we will give that same money. Okay, we'll give that money not for the sake of the promotion of Indian literature, but for the sake of uh, the promotion of uh, English language and English literature, English culture into that particular uh, duration of time. Okay, the company was also to take up a greater role in the education of the Indians under them, and it was set aside in 1 lakh for this purpose. So this that was the thing that I was talking about. Okay, do you have any doubt regarding this particular aspect? Because why am I talking about Charter Act? Why am I talking about in detail the mechanism? Because this will start the beginning of Indian English literature. How English language uh, had gaining its position or currency into the Indian subcontinent. What was the event that had happened that forced English language to come into English in this particular subcontinent, and we have utilized this language right now to write, to read, think, and also communicate. This is the result of all these efforts that has been taken during the colonial period. So these are the beginning of the influence of English language into our country, and right now we are using it as a cakes and egg, right? So if you have any question or query, you please ask me or write it down in one of your pages of paper and let me know in the next class so that I can clarify them. Okay, so from next class onwards, we are going to focus on, I will give you an overview of SILS report. Other than that, we'll talk about the till this point, then we'll talk about uh, B.R. Ambedkar's that treatise, that is Buddha or Karl Marx. So we are going to talk about that. Do you have any question or query?
No, sir.
It's clear, sir. Sir,
Yes, please.
may I know your name, sir?
My name is Dilwar Hussain. It's there in the participants list. You can see.
Sir, can you give it in writing? I mean the spelling, please.
Okay, just a minute. Yes, you can see it right now in the chat box.
Achha, D. Hussain. Yes, sir. We got it, sir. Thank you very much. If any
Okay.
doubts are there, sir, in our next class, we'll try to clarify, sir.
Okay,
Sir.
okay, sure. Fine.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes,
Good morning,
please.
sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes,
I'm
good
very
morning.
impressed with your teaching and with the notes also. If it possible, we could get the notes, sir, because the point wise that what is the Macaulays you are having and the other things are written, and it was very clear. So we all would feel very
It's
happy
okay,
if the notes is presented or if we given by you.
There is no problem to share my notes. So you please let me know your number so that I can forward it, because
Yeah,
I don't have
I'll
any number.
just sending my number, sir. So that I'll keep it in to my friends and everyone. So I Divakar.
Is it there in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm just typing, sir.
Yeah, please do type.
Just now I kept, sir.
Okay, so if I will forward it with you, please forward with others as well. Okay.
To everyone, I'll forward, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
please.
sir. Divakar, kindly pass the notes to all in the MA group.
Yes, madam. After passing all the notes, I'll keep kindly I passed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Sir, is it possible for us to get your contact number?
It's possible, but the thing is that if everybody will text me, it will be a problem. So it would be better. I will share the notes to one, and he or she will share it to all other students. Okay.
Okay, sir. Fine.
Sure, sir. Thank you for that one, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll do that.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
day,
you.
Good day.
Take care.
Thank you. Good day. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye. Take care. Okay.
Bye, friends, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, Divakar, please. Next.
Madam, you don't worry, madam. As soon as sir has sent me, I'll be sending all the people.
The next
Please
class.
send to all the people, sir.
Next class?
Link.
At what time?
I think half an hour gap is there, no, but at 12 o'clock now, next class. 1 o'clock.
No, I have not seen even any timetable. I'm just going on login that whenever
Next class from
the group.
Next class from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
12 noon. Half an hour gap for every class, Divakar.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So please send, because it was difficult for us to join this time.
Please come again, ma'am. I could not get the point.
It was difficult in the beginning for us to join. We could not.
Okay. Why is the reason? What's the reason?
We didn't get the link properly.
Okay.
Then I asked Dr. Madhuri, then she sent, then we got.
Okay, you asked madam then. Okay.
Please,
Fine.
Divakar, share beta.
Sure, madam.
Okay, bye. Bye, Divakar. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, ma'am.
Bye, Divakar. Please see
bye,
that
bye, everybody.
notice. Divakar ji, please see that notice sent to everybody after
One
receiving.
second, sir. You sent me that note, sir?
Okay. No. After receiving from counselor, please send to all the people. Please
yes, sir, I
this.
do that, sir. I take a lead and responsibility of that one, sir.
Okay. Bye, Divakar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kindness.
Okay.
Practice maybe ఎందుకో